Our GMC Sierra tweet of the night comes from CBS Sports. Monty Williams. How about that deal? $72 million plus incentives to become the head coach, which means he makes more than everyone on the Detroit Pistons team right now, which tells you how much work they have to do. But he goes from Phoenix, where he was fired, to getting $72 million. And Chris, I know you're an NBA fan. I'm wondering what this does to other coaches, bigger names who've done more. For example, Malone in this series, Spoelstra in this series, or Steve Kerr, because he has, I think, a year left on a contract. I would imagine that a deal like that one is going to just lift those guys into $100 million territory.
Show me the money. All those guys can say it. Malone maybe can say it more than anybody, because I don't know about you, Bob. I think last I checked, the Nuggets were up 15 and about to close out game one. I think they're probably going to win that series in 5. Do they not look like the NBA's next potential dynasty? Show me where the weakness is on that team. Seriously. And show me where it'll be for the next couple of years. If I'm Malone, I'm really trying to make sure my next contract is a home run, because they seem poised to deliver the goods in a big way.
Yeah, they are. Nobody can stop Jokic, and he's doing it by passing. I think he had 15 assists last I checked tonight. And they have taken advantage of Miami in game one. We'll see if they can finish it out. Meantime, let's go to the phone lines. We have a lot of people want to talk here tonight, beginning with Jimmy in Point Breeze. Jimmy, what's going on?
Hey, Bob. Hey, Chris. Thanks for taking my call. My question was, if the Penguins are going to move on from Tristan Jarry, what goaltenders do you think are out there that they should be targeting?
Well, that's a good question. There are going to be some free agent guys out there, and you've seen teams do it by using sort of a committee approach. Certainly Carolina did that, I think, to a large degree. You know, look at Vegas. You know, Adin Hill is not supposed to be the guy who's leading them down the stretch, although they're playing much tighter in front of him than they were, I think, in anyone else. There are options, Chris, but I think the first and foremost thing he's going to have to figure out, because I know Mike Sullivan really likes Tristan Jarry, what do they do with him and how much will it cost? Because his price has to have gone down, I think, based on last year.
Well, you and I would say that we're outside observers. We're not in Tristan Jarry's camp. They might still try to get obstinate and say, we want a little bit more money. And if that's the case, I would tell him to take a hike. I'm off the top of my head, I don't have like the free agent to be goalies in my brain, but I feel like I've heard Hellebuck's name thrown around there. Although I think he would command a huge amount of money. Honestly, Bob, I don't even know if that's where I saw the name. The bottom line for me is I think Kyle Dubas has the right approach to the position. It's extremely volatile. It's not one that you want to throw big-time money at for anybody, like some sort of huge market-setting contract. And it's prone to changing drastically. And that includes, like, that. What I mean by that is, like, a seemingly reliable player's performance year to year and even series to series. So I do think he's got the right basic approach of try to build a great team in front of a goalie and then you tinker with that position.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question about that. That's how you can do it. We have a tweet here from Tony Biondi, I think the name is. Why don't you like Tristan Jarry? He's been a 2-time All-Star. No, I don't. It's not that I don't like Tristan Jarry. I think Tristan Jarry has been injured at critical times. I also think his playoff performance, if you look at the numbers, are not very good when he's been healthy. And that is what you need from a goaltender. You need someone to carry you through some of these times. I give him credit. He came back in Game 7 against the Rangers, playing with whatever he had with his foot injury. But still, when he's been healthy, has not been at his best in critical games where they need him. And to me, that's ultimately what will define. I still think he has a lot of talent. He's young enough to change it. We've seen goaltenders, Chris, you know, wait a longer time. I mean, look at Bobrovsky, for example. He's always been a high-caliber goaltender, but he's also looked bad in big game situations until this year. So maybe if you hang with a guy long enough, good things can happen.
Yeah, but most teams and most fan bases aren't that patient. And, you know, with the case of Jarry, I think he's played in 8 playoff games. I'm counting the one from the bubble, Bob. So 8 playoff games. You ready for this? 2 games with a save percentage above .905, and it was 2 good ones, a .954 and like a .978. 1 at .902. That leaves 5 games. 4 of them well below 900. 1 of them below 800. In essentially
I didn't know
5
it was
out
that
of
bad.
8 games.
I knew it was bad. I didn't know it was that bad.
No, in 5 out of 8 games, he's been non-competitive as a goalie in the playoffs. In one of them, he's been subpar by regular NHL, like league average save percentage standards. And then in 2 of them, he's been good, one of which he lost anyway. So Tristan Jarry needs to prove it, and if he's going to be banged up, I don't know how you can commit big money to him. You've got to be reliable. You've got to be out there healthy.
Another thing I found interesting, not because Mike Sullivan is on some sort of a hot seat. He just signed a longer-term extension, so I don't expect anything to change. But Kyle Dubas also said that he basically can coach as long as he wants and that there is no expiration. That's interesting to me because I always thought, as someone coming in, and certainly you're not going to make a move with Mike Sullivan now. He's smart enough to know that. But in time, I would imagine, that's got to be one of the things, if things don't go well in the next couple of years, that you'd have to consider. Even though, again, I have a lot of respect for Mike Sullivan and what he's been able to do.
So I have a lot of respect for what Sullivan's been able to do, but he hasn't done it in a while. Is Kyle Dubas not just the guy who, like 12 days ago or whatever it was, said it's either Toronto or nowhere for me next year? So let's just say that words can change quickly. Things that a guy said, thought he might have meant even, can suddenly not be so meaningful in a not too long period of time here. So let's say Mike Sullivan presides over 2 straight seasons where the Penguins don't reach the playoffs, even though people say their roster should. Guess who's going to be on the unemployment line? Mike Sullivan.
Yeah, that's the way it goes in hockey. And it won't happen now, but it could happen at some time. And I would imagine if it gets that bad, that a move like that will be made. In the meantime, let's go out to Joe in Verona. Hey, Joe. Joe, are you there?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. Hello?
Oh, Joe. He was going to ask something, I suppose, about the Penguins. I don't know. But, hey, listen, they got a team. I don't doubt, Chris, that, those 3 guys, Crosby, Malkin, and Letang, I don't expect them to play every game like Malkin and Crosby did this past year. That's a rarity. But I do expect them to be, still very good players in this league. They have a decent top 6. I got to believe, though, at some point that Kyle Dubas will have to look at somebody there and say, I got to flip somebody of consequence to get what I need. And if that's the case, who might that be? You could look at Gensel. Rust is coming off a bad season, for him anyway. He
has no value if he's coming off a bad season. I like Raquel a lot. Gensel's the name you would obviously flip, I guess, because he would bring back the most value. But what Jake Gensel does when he's right is the most precious commodity in all of hockey. He scores goals. He puts the puck in the net. They do have some of that room in free agency, that cap space. I mean, that's where they need to try to make hay and just get good quality depth guys. The real goal on this team, and you can't assume the health of Malkin and Crosby all year. I get that, like you got last year. But the real goal should be have 3rd and 4th lines that don't get absolutely caved in so that when the 1st and 2nd lines jump over the boards, they're basically starting from an inherent disadvantage. All you should be trying to build if you're Kyle Dubas is an adequate 3rd and an adequate 4th line, like league average. He manages to do that, and their stars stay healthy, they will make the playoffs again next year.
Although I got to say the Eastern Conference is going to be even more difficult, I think, than it has been. And I think Ottawa is on the rise. We'll see what happens with them. They also have some heavy contracts on defense with Jeff Petrie at over $6 million and Jan Ruda. I don't know how much wiggle room he has to, try to get out of those, use those as, trade, whatever the case may be, but he's going to have to make some changes there. Let's go to Ed in Carrick before we take a break. Hello, Ed. How are you?
Hey, how you doing?
All right. What's up, man?
Yeah. Milwaukee lost today. The Pirates are half a game out. Yeah, good. Milwaukee lost today, so the Pirates are half a game out at first.
Well, good for them. They have a good stretch coming up. They got St. Louis in town. St. Louis is only 4.5 out, I believe, or 4. Chris, they've been playing much better baseball of late. So I think this series and the one after the A's, although you never know about that one, the Mets are going to be very interesting.
Bob, I don't know if you heard, but Milwaukee lost today. Pirates are a half a game out.
I think I heard that twice before you said it, yes.
There's a large echo in here. They need to go 6-3 no, they probably need to go 7-2 on this homestand if they're really handling business. I mean that. 2 or 3 from the Mets, 2 or 3 from the Cardinals, and in between sweep the A's. The Oakland A's look like they might be the worst team in baseball history, at least modern baseball history. That's not hyperbole. Go look them up if you don't believe me. The run differential, the record, what they're on pace for. You can sweep them. You can say sweeping them if you fancy yourself a good baseball team is a realistic expectation, particularly in your own ballpark. The Pirates should do that.
There's no question about it. They're on pace for like 130 losses, which would break the all-time record. By the way, if you've not watched Kodai Senga pitch for the Mets, he's worth watching. I hope he gets a chance to pitch here because he's got some nasty movement on all of his pitches. And we'll see if the Pirates have an opportunity against him. That's coming up in the third series of this homestand. We're going to take a break here, come back with more. It's 412-575-2600 right here on the Island Contracting United Sports Bar.